Welcome to Hoardganize with professional organizer Rachel Seavey. Every Sunday at 6 p.m., Rachel shares her expertise and compassionate approach to help you deal with overwhelming clutter. Rachel?
Hey, collectors. Welcome to the Hoardganize Podcast. I'm your host, professional organizer Rachel Seavey, and we are right smack dab in the middle of our 8-week clutter-free summer challenge. This is our 4th week. It's a little late. That doesn't give you any excuses. If you do follow me on social media, Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, you'll know that I've just been super busy. I've got kids home from summer. We did water slides on Saturday. And then Sunday, I did an ASMR on YouTube, which was way out of my comfort zone, but love the look on my 10-year-old's face after uploading it. So if you have some extra time, you should definitely check out my YouTube channel, which is Collector Care Tips. Or you could just look me up, Rachel Seavey, on YouTube. One thing that I come across a lot, my dearest collectors, are your mix-match socks. Again, if you're one of my clients, I am not talking about you. This is really just a common thing. I personally cannot stand having mix-match socks. It's one of my pet peeves. But I guess that's why I'm an awesome professional organizer. And I'm not sure that I can personally help you with this problem this week because my sock drawer is on point. But I'll whisper because he's sleeping. Shane has mixed match socks in his drawer, and we're going to be tackling those this week because I just can't live like that any longer. And this is the last week that that's going to be going on in his little sock drawer. So we'll have to document that, of course, on YouTube. Don't worry. I don't want you to, go to another podcast. I want you to listen because I do know that you love your mixed match socks. And I understand some of you have the unrealistic idea that they're actually going to match them. But that's okay. I have solutions for your mixed match socks so they're not just taking up space and creating clutter in your house. So if you've got bags or piles or boxes or bins of mixed match socks and can't bear to just throw them out, this podcast is for you. Let's first address the idea of there being a sock monster or the dryer eating your socks. I too have experienced this. Some of us, though, are a little careless with our socks and just leave them all over around the house and they get all mixed up with everything else. So when we're sorting, we even have a category specifically for socks. And I've created many, many, many sock categories, and hardly of these are ever matched. It's okay. You're not alone. Lots of people out there have mixed match socks. So we've identified that you have a sock pairing problem and that you honestly think you might match them up someday. So if you really do have the time to match them up and put them away, that's going to be your task this week. If you can really round up your socks and go ahead and spend the time and match them up, then that is your goal for the end of the week. But for the rest of us, let's keep on listening. Okay, so we've identified that you have a lot of socks that don't match. Let's just touch on that issue of you not throwing them out. Is this stemmed from your fear of being wasteful? Do you feel like you've spent so much money on your socks that it would just be a shame and a waste to throw them all out? If you are a brave soul and can manage to just throw out all of your mixed match socks and start over fresh, this will be your task this week. So all of you brave souls out there that just want to be done with the mixed match socks, you've had enough, you're not going to live like this any longer, go ahead and throw them out. You're very brave. But for the rest of us, we're just going to keep on listening, guys. I know you hate to be wasteful, and the idea of just throwing away mix-match socks is just too much to fathom. So I have a client that went to Debtors Anonymous, and she said it was a total thing for people who are compulsive shoppers to have tons of socks, but to only be wearing socks with holes in them. Is this something that you can resonate with? I mean, she said it was a total thing that across the board, almost everyone in their groups could identify with wearing holey socks. Do you have a lot of socks around, but you feel like you're not worthy of wearing any ones but the holiest ones? If this is you, I want you to gather up all of your holey socks and put them in with the mix-match socks category, because I've got some ideas for you. Okay, collectors, we all know that you're not just going to throw out your socks or your holey socks, but what do you do with them? Do you just let them sit in a pile in your room or in a bin called socks? No, collectors, you can actually reuse holey socks and mix-match socks the 7 following ways. Tip number 1 for reusing your mix-match socks. Use them to protect golf clubs. Just slip them over those puppies and you don't need a golf club protector any longer. Tip number 2, use your mix-match socks to store shoes and protect them from getting dusty in your closet. Tip number 3, in your pantry, if you've got honey or syrup or any other sticky bottles, you can put a sock on the bottom of that bottle so that you can stop it from making a sticky mess. Tip number 4, you can clean your car or your house with them. Of course, you can use socks for rags. And once they get all filthy and weathered, then you can chuck them. Tip number 5, you can make homemade dryer balls. Put brand new tennis balls inside of your mix-match socks, tie them really tight at the end, and throw them in with your clothing. They're homemade dryer balls, just like that. Tip number 6, I love tip number 6. You can rescue small items like nails or paper clips or change or earrings by placing a sock over your vacuum hose. Gotta try that one, collectors. And tip number 7, keep your hands and your feet soft. You put some Vaseline or some lotion on, and then you put your socks on over. And you keep your hands and your feet soft. So those are 7 ways that you can reuse those socks and not feel bad about just throwing them away. Another thing that you can do to ethically dispose of your mix-match socks, at least in California, you can do this. And I did see some places on the East Coast when I went on their website. There are those green like donation bins, and sometimes they're at a gas station or at a school, and you can actually put in your old socks or your new socks. I mean, they take all sorts of donations, but you can actually put in your old socks and your old clothing. Make sure they're not filthy. If they're just gross and dirty and stained is okay, but if they're filthy, don't put them in. But, if they're stained or ripped or torn, old socks, anything like that, they will actually recycle all of the old textile that they receive into rags. And so they're called USA again. I don't know how to pronounce it, but their website is USAGAIN.com. And you could just punch in your zip code. And I punched in my zip code, and I had like 10 local green bins in my city and surrounding cities that I could just drop off old socks to. So I think that's really awesome. You should check out their website. They do a lot. They recycle old textiles all the time. So if you feel really guilty about just throwing out your old socks, round them up and put them into one of those green donation bins from USA, use again, and be relieved because you'll be starting the fall with a lot less stuff. Okay, collectors, I really think you can do this. I didn't ask you to just flat out throw them out. Well, I kind of did if you're brave. But for most of you, I hope you have fun gathering up your mix-max socks and your holey socks and either reusing them or putting them in a green bin. Collectors, while you're checking me out on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribed, click that thumbs up button, and leave a comment. Until next time, collectors, and remember, happiness is a place between too little and too much.
Are you embarrassed and ashamed to have people over? Do you need expert advice on the tools you need to begin decluttering? Hoarding and chronic disorganization specialist Rachel Seavey offers one-on-one consultations for people who are ready to make a change. For more information, visit collectorcare.com.
This has been Hoardganize with Rachel Seavey. New episodes are available every Sunday at 6 p.m. and also on the Collector Care YouTube channel. Download Rachel's Affirmations for Collectors on iTunes or Amazon.com. Or sign up for Rachel's blog at collectorcare.com and receive 7 tips for clutter-free living. Thanks for listening.